This paper discusses whether there is gamification in ride-hailing drivers in Indonesia. Using qualitative research methods, it shows that the driver experiences illusionary freedom. Through technology, drivers experience this illusion of freedom through gamification. An interesting finding is that drivers cheat to chase targets, especially during a pandemic. Competition between drivers and the desire to get a bonus makes them have to work hard and compete with each other to get passengers, including by committing fraud. Even though they are considered as partners, the driver's position is inferior to the company. The regulations governing partnership relations are urgent to be issued. Grab and Gojek are the transportation network companies or TNCs that have dominated the ride-hailing business in Indonesia since Uber left the online transportation business. They are growing fast in a vast market. However, their business growth is also overshadowed by various problems. One of the issues that attracted the most attention was the relationship between TNCs and the driver. The position of the driver as a partner creates vulnerability in the form of exploitation through gamification. Is it true that exploitation through gamification occurs in ride-hailing drivers? Online transportation services have existed in Indonesia since 2010 but have grown since Gojek has joined the market and has become a general transportation application. The services provided are also increasingly diverse. They provide not only pickup but also other services such as delivering food and goods, massages, cleaning the house and so on. Although it has had a positive impact, some research shows that the online transportation business still faces problems such as incomplete regulations and the partnership relationship between drivers and TNCs. This partnership problem is interesting to study because there is no bond between the driver and the TNCs. Drivers are partners, not employees. This relationship pattern is prone to injustice. Moreover, TNCs will only give bonuses if the driver can meet the target. To achieve this target, the driver must work hard. Nastiti stated that there is an exploitation of Gojek drivers through the use of applications. Also, using a daily point and target system to get incentives is a form of gamification. Mason, who researched Lyft and Uber drivers, stated that through technology, TNCs carried out gamification. This article wants to see if there is gamification in ride-hailing drivers in Indonesia. To our knowledge, there has been no research that qualitatively examines this problem. This research is essential for two reasons, namely, first, this theme has received very little attention, and second, the profession as a ride-hailing driver is starting to be the choice of the younger generation. An assessment of the relationship between TNCs and drivers is necessary to help illustrate the real relationship. Thus, it will be known whether the driver gets the equivalent returns or only becomes an exploited worker through the application platform. This research uses a qualitative research approach and a case study methodology through interviews with Grab and Gojek ride-hailing drivers. A qualitative approach and case study methodology are the most reasonable ways to assess aspects of business behavior and culture. Qualitative methods are a way to understand complex phenomena. We think that Grab and Gojek are complex phenomena because they involve platforms, new habits, partnerships and regulations. To obtain data, we become passengers who order pickup services via applications to various locations in Semarang, Yogyakarta and Jakarta. While in the car or riding on the motorbike, we offer anonymous interviews and explain the purpose of the research. If the driver agrees, we conduct an interview using a tape recorder. 25 drivers were interviewed and agreed to give their opinion. Questions to the driver are about work motivation, full-time or part-time status, results received, interactions between drivers and the partnership relationship. Great user demand makes many people join as drivers. The results of this study indicate that most of the drivers of productive age make ride-hailing their primary job. 60% of drivers choose to work full-time because they have no other job. Interestingly, 40% of drivers previously had jobs but then chose to quit and become ride-hailing drivers. At first, they were attracted by the flexibility of working time. Some of them even dare to take debt to buy a new vehicle. Part of the money earned from work is used to pay off these debts. For those who choose to be a part-time driver, the motivation to work is to get extra money. They work without targets and burdens. For those who choose a part-time, money is not a problem. However, recently, the revenue from driving has not been as large as the early days of ride-hailing services. When the start of this service appeared, drivers could earn much money. After that, the commission for the driver is reduced. Fuel prices have also risen. Competition between drivers for passengers is also getting tighter. Drivers have to work hard to earn money and bonuses. To earn bonuses or extra cash, drivers must exceed the target, something almost all drivers find challenging to do. They also told of the dishonest behavior of drivers who manipulated for profit due to increasingly fierce competition. Apart from getting extra money, this job is also attractive because it offers flexibility. In some ways, the flexibility for the driver is correct. Unlike employees who work in offices or factories, ride-hailing drivers have flexible hours and workplaces. Drivers are free to join, work and quit anytime. However, Robert, who researched Uber drivers in Paris, stated that drivers experience illusionary freedom, a condition where they feel they experience the freedom of work. It is as if the drivers experience freedom, but in fact, they experience exploitation. Mason stated that through technology, the company manages the illusion of freedom subtly by performing gamification. When ranked highly, drivers are motivated to drive. When they are ranked low, drivers are also more motivated to drive. The increasing number of drivers and the desire for bonuses make them have to work hard and compete with each other for passengers. So, naughty drivers do various ways to get passengers and meet targets, including by committing fraud. The fraud that many drivers do is through a fake global positioning system and fake orders. One of the variables that must be included in discussing ride-hailing issues is regulation. Regulations generally run more slowly than technological developments and business practices, such as what happens in online transportation. It is indicated by the problems that arise when the business platform is running. When this condition occurs, the choice of regulators is to make regulations, make threats or do nothing. In the United States, TNC was able to convince the court that they were an information technology company, not a transportation company. Therefore, all regulations for taxi companies should not be applied to TNC. However, TNC, which is based in Indonesia, has not found a solution. As a result, transportation sector regulations cannot be applied to TNCs. All regulations for conventional taxi companies should not apply to TNC. Unlike TNCs, conventional taxis must comply with many regulations. Conventional taxis cannot freely raise rates while TNCs are free to do so. Wahyuningtias, who conducted a case study on Gojek, found that regulators were late in regulating the existence of online transportation so that this company can regulate itself by playing a role both as an intermediary and an infomediary. The unclear regulations regarding the partnership relationship between the driver and TNCs mean that ride-hailing drivers cannot claim their rights according to the labor law. Even though the driver is considered a partner, in reality, the TNCs are in a position of superiority. Extra cash and working time flexibility are two factors that attract a person to become a ride-hailing driver. However, over time, these two factors are an illusion. Drivers find it increasingly difficult to find passengers and money due to increased competition and reduced fares. Through gamification, drivers are encouraged to keep getting orders. This difficulty caused some drivers to cheat through a fake global positioning system and fake orders. Stricter regulation is needed to regulate the partnership relationship so that drivers can get their rights properly.